Chapter 5 of The Subtle Art of Not Giving a FCK by Mark Manson is titled You Are Always Choosing. In this chapter, Manson argues that everything we do in life is a choice, and that we need to take responsibility for the choices we make. Manson begins the chapter by discussing the common excuses we make for our behavior. We may blame our circumstances, our upbringing, or other people for the choices we make. However, Manson argues that this mindset is limiting and prevents us from taking responsibility for our lives. According to Manson, everything we do in life is a choice. We may not always have control over our circumstances, but we always have a choice in how we respond to them. Manson calls this the do something principle, where we take responsibility for our lives and choose to take action to improve our situation. Manson also argues that our choices are shaped by our values and beliefs. If we value success, for example, we will make choices that align with that value. However, Manson cautions that our values and beliefs can also be limiting and prevent us from seeing other possibilities. Manson suggests that we need to be open-minded and willing to challenge our beliefs in order to make the best choices for ourselves. Manson concludes the chapter by suggesting that we need to take responsibility for our lives and our choices. We cannot control everything that happens to us, but we can control how we respond to it. Manson suggests that we need to focus on the choices that are within our control, and take action to improve our lives. Overall, Chapter 5 of The Subtle Art of Not Giving a FCK provides a powerful message about taking responsibility for our lives and our choices. Manson's message is clear: everything we do in life is a choice, and we need to take responsibility for those choices if we want to improve our lives. By focusing on the choices that are within our control and taking action to improve our situation, we can create a more fulfilling and satisfying life. Chapter 6 of The Subtle Art of Not Giving a FCK by Mark Manson is titled You're Wrong About Everything, But So Am I. In this chapter, Manson argues that we all have a tendency to believe that we are right, and that this mindset can lead to conflict and suffering. Manson begins the chapter by discussing the human tendency to believe that we are right. We often hold strong beliefs and opinions, and we may even become defensive or angry when someone challenges us. Manson argues that this mindset can be limiting and prevent us from seeing other perspectives. According to Manson, the key to overcoming this mindset is to recognize that we are all wrong about something. We all have blind spots and biases that prevent us from seeing the world objectively. Manson suggests that we need to embrace this fact and be willing to challenge our beliefs in order to grow and learn. Manson also discusses the concept of cognitive dissonance, which occurs when our beliefs are challenged by new information. We may feel uncomfortable or defensive in these situations, but Manson argues that this discomfort is a necessary part of personal growth. By being open to new information and perspectives, we can expand our understanding of the world and ourselves. Manson concludes the chapter by suggesting that we need to be willing to challenge our beliefs and embrace the discomfort that comes with cognitive dissonance. We need to recognize that we are all wrong about something, and that this is an opportunity for growth and learning. By being open to new information and perspectives, we can expand our understanding of the world and become more empathetic and compassionate towards others. Overall, Chapter 6 of The Subtle Art of Not Giving a FCK provides a powerful message about the importance of being open-minded and willing to challenge our beliefs. Manson's message is clear: we are all wrong about something, and we need to embrace this fact in order to grow and learn. By being open to new information and perspectives, we can become more understanding and empathetic towards others, and ultimately lead a more fulfilling life. Chapter 7 of The Subtle Art of Not Giving a FCK by Mark Manson is titled Failure is the Way Forward. In this chapter, Manson argues that failure is an essential part of success, and that we need to embrace it in order to grow and improve. Manson begins the chapter by discussing the cultural stigma surrounding failure. We often view failure as a negative thing and try to avoid it at all costs. However, Manson argues that this mindset can be limiting and prevent us from taking risks and pursuing our goals. According to Manson, failure is an essential part of success. We cannot achieve anything great without taking risks and facing the possibility of failure. Manson suggests that we need to embrace failure as a learning opportunity, rather than something to be avoided. Manson also discusses the concept of the feedback loop. When we take risks and experience failure, we receive feedback on what we did wrong and what we can do better next time. This feedback is essential for growth and improvement, and can ultimately lead to greater success. Manson concludes the chapter by suggesting that we need to embrace failure and see it as an essential part of the journey towards success. We need to take risks and be willing to fail in order to grow and improve. Manson suggests that we need to focus on the process of learning and growing, rather than just the end result. Overall, Chapter 7 of The Subtle Art of Not Giving a FCK provides a powerful message about the importance of embracing failure as an essential part of success. Manson's message is clear: we cannot achieve anything great without taking risks and facing the possibility of failure. By embracing failure as a learning opportunity, we can grow and improve, and ultimately achieve greater success in life. Chapter 8 of The Subtle Art of Not Giving a FCK by Mark Manson is titled The Importance of Saying No. In this chapter, Manson argues that we need to be willing to say no in order to live a fulfilling and authentic life. Manson begins the chapter by discussing the pressure that we feel to say yes to everything. We may feel obligated to say yes to requests from friends, family, or colleagues, even if we don't want to or don't have the time. Manson argues that this mindset can lead to overcommitment and prevent us from living a fulfilling life. According to Manson, saying no is an essential part of setting boundaries and living an authentic life. We need to be willing to prioritize our own needs and goals, rather than constantly saying yes to others. Manson suggests that saying no can be a powerful way to establish boundaries and create more meaningful relationships. Manson also discusses the concept of the default yes. This is the idea that we tend to say yes to things by default, rather than taking the time to consider whether it is something that we actually want or need to do. Manson suggests that we need to break this pattern and start saying no when it is appropriate. Manson concludes the chapter by suggesting that we need to be willing to say no in order to live a fulfilling and authentic life. We need to prioritize our own needs and goals, and establish boundaries with others. Manson suggests that by saying no, we can create more meaningful relationships and ultimately lead a more satisfying life. Overall, Chapter 8 of The Subtle Art of Not Giving a FCK provides a powerful message about the importance of saying no. Manson's message is clear: we need to be willing to prioritize our own needs and goals, rather than constantly saying yes to others. By establishing boundaries and being authentic, we can create more meaningful relationships and ultimately live a more fulfilling life. Chapter 9 of The Subtle Art of Not Giving a FCK by Mark Manson is titled, And Then You Die. In this chapter, Manson discusses the inevitability of death and how accepting our own mortality can help us live a more meaningful life. Manson begins the chapter by discussing how our culture tends to avoid talking about death. We often see death as a taboo subject and avoid thinking about it until we are forced to confront it. Manson argues that this avoidance can prevent us from living a fulfilling life. According to Manson, accepting our own mortality can be a powerful motivator for living a meaningful life. When we recognize that our time on earth is limited, we are forced to consider what is truly important to us and what we want to accomplish in our lives. This can help us prioritize our goals and make the most of the time that we have. Manson also discusses the concept of the memento mori, which is a Latin phrase that means remember that you will die. This phrase has been used throughout history to remind people of their own mortality and encourage them to live a more meaningful life. Manson concludes the chapter by suggesting that we need to accept our own mortality in order to live a fulfilling life. We need to be willing to confront the inevitability of death and use it as a motivator to prioritize what is truly important to us. Manson suggests that by doing so, we can live a more meaningful and satisfying life. Overall, Chapter 9 of The Subtle Art of Not Giving a FCK provides a powerful message about the importance of accepting our own mortality. Manson's message is clear: by recognizing that our time on earth is limited, we can prioritize what is truly important to us and live a more meaningful life. By embracing the concept of the memento mori, we can use our own mortality as a motivator for living a fulfilling life.